keynote is let the illuminating energy of pure reason produce complete freedom from glamour and reveal the love divine relationship. The intuition perceives with clarity that there is only the all-permeating love of divine relationship. This love, this divine relationship, is that presence in which we live and move and have our being. Yet in our everyday consciousness, this divine love and relationship is so often veiled by glamour. The foundational illusion that I am separate and disconnected from you or them is the thread from which all veils of glamour are woven. Pure reason is the sword which can cut through glamour. To be effective, the sword must sever the root of the problem, namely the illusion of separateness. Pure reason reveals the love of divine relationship as the truth of existence, cutting through glamour. To do this, the sword of pure reason must be wielded from an impersonal and thus universal perspective. A concrete precipitation of pure reason is seen in our fundamental human rights, which are universal and imbued with the qualities of love and divine relationship. A key forerunner for the UN Declaration of Human Rights was the moral philosophy of Immanuel Kant. Kant explicitly developed his moral philosophy from pure reason and proposed the categorical imperative as the foundation for answering the basic question of what is right action. Kant stated several different, yet intrinsically connected formulations of the categorical imperative, of which three are mentioned here. 1. As a universal law of nature. Act only in accordance with that maxim through which you can at the same time will that it become a universal law. 2. As a statement of humanity. We should never act in such a way that we treat humanity, whether in ourselves or in others, as a means only, but always as an end in itself. 3. As a statement of autonomy. Act so that through your maxims, you could be a legislator of universal laws. Like poetry, these formulations carry the sound of truth. We intuit them as true. They are true because they are universally rational. They express the energy of pure reason.
A convenient way of defining glamour is in terms of our habit of interacting with the world around us via our physical senses, and of living in the centres below the diaphragm. In other words, glamour is no more and no less than the living experience of the personality. As we know, there is an alternative way of meeting the world through the senses and the consciousness of the higher self. To the extent that we manage to direct our attention to the higher stream, to that extent we lose sight of the lower. A man riding a horse is a well-known metaphor for the soul-personality relationship. And there is a story that when the Buddha set out on his journey of asceticism, his horse realized it would no longer be needed and died of a broken heart. Starved of attention, the personality too withers and dies, and with it our addiction to glamour. Another metaphor for the relationship between soul and personality can be found in the Tibetans' teachings on esoteric astrology, in which I have an abiding interest. When the soul descends into incarnation, it spends its first 7 years in an Aries phase, taking hold of the physical body. Between ages 7 and 14, the Taurus phase, it develops and takes to itself the emotional body. Between 14 and 21, in the Gemini phase, it learns again to mobilize the intellect, and so on, in a series of stages until death intervenes. Meanwhile, the personality mysteriously and symbolically rotates through the segments of solar space in quite the opposite direction. And out of the friction caused by the grinding action of these two opposing wheels, one of truth and the other of glamour, the disciple is born. This process of taking hold is effected by the soul through the medium of the higher mind and feelings, and the etheric body. My interest in this context is with the second phase of early development, that of the emotional body. Unlike the physical and mental, which divide into higher and lower parts, the emotional body exists as a single sevenfold unit. One effect of this is that until the separative intellect begins to take hold, the prepubescent child is sensitive, within the limitations of its evolutionary development, to the entire range of possible emotional impacts. During this childhood phase, when imagination rules, we are closer to our souls than we will ever be again, or until, on a higher turn of the wheel, we become involved on the plane of the mind, and what in childhood was an unconscious liaison develops into an equally immediate, but this time conscious relationship. It can do us no harm to follow the advice of the Christ, and in the battle against glamour, become as little children.
Let the illuminating energy of pure reason produce complete freedom from glamour. I see the dark waves of the astral sea battering humanity. I hear the cry and I try to help, but I'm immersed in obscurity. Where am I and who am I? I am the server. In the light of the soul, I stand, but I don't always see. I don't always know what to do. I try and I fail, pushed back by the same darkness I try to transform. So I stand, still I stand, and meditate, calling for the clear light to illumine the way. Plato's allegory of the cave comes to my aid. We are like prisoners in a dark cave. We react to the shadows projected on the wall in front of us. We believe that that is reality. Death, illness, pain seem so real, as well as the good images such as success, a loving family, a good job. We get attached to them, and this will only lead to more suffering when they disappear, because even the good images will disappear. They are not real. But one day, one of the prisoners escapes. He leaves the cave and discovers the light of the sun. The clear light of pure reason frees him from the shadows of illusion and glamour. He now sees, he now knows what reality is. He finds meaning, he finds purpose. For the love of his fellow man, he turns his back to the light. He goes back into the darkness, into the cave to set the others free. But they rebel. They threaten him. They don't want to change. I see that rebellion in my fellow man. I see the same rebellion in my own bodies, in my mind, my emotions, my physical body. They don't want to change. They don't want to go through the high pressure and fire that will transform them in diamonds. But once reality is known, there is no way back. May it be your will, not mine. And I meditate and ask for the light of pure reason to illumine the way. I am in the light. How do I serve? I hear the cry and I try to help. I ask the light of pure reason to reveal the love of divine relationship so that I can understand, so that I can help. I see the illusion of separation. I see love and then purpose working out in the world. I allow the light to walk through my bodies and shine, consciously connecting the spirit with the world of man, and the whole creation responds. A woodpecker seems to follow me wherever I go, to remind me to be strong and faithful. The rainbow shines stronger than ever from every window and surprises me in the sky when I need it most. And my heart is filled again with joy. I stand, I rest, I observe, I move in harmony with the soul. I am free from glamour. I am one with all.